Do you feel trapped trying to outdo your competitors? Competitive strategies help you build a stronger defense against the competition and generate higher ROI on your strategic efforts. In this video, you'll learn how to attract and keep customers with tools like strategic group analysis maps, SWOT analysis, competitive pricing analysis, Blue Ocean strategy, and Porter's 5 forces that you can download and customize to your needs. Real quick, for those of you who don't know us, we analyze business frameworks and summarize business books to stay on top of the latest business strategies. Execs need competitive analysis to get outside of what they think their company is good at or avoid what their competitors do best. Competitive strategies help identify a competitor's area of weakness for you to pivot to and focus on. These pivots could be actual technical changes or change in brand positioning. Whether you want to learn the tools to use for your own competitive analysis or give a presentation on the competitive landscape of your industry, you can download and customize this deck for your needs. And by the end of this video, you'll learn how top companies like McDonald's, Robinhood, Toyota, and Netflix conduct competitive analysis to stay on top of their industry. Competition is a company's biggest threat, but it also informs the company's business model to find unique services that provide additional value their rivals don't offer. For example, think about the competition in the auto industry. There are so many automotive companies, from legacy giants like Toyota and VW with great assembly lines and scale, to new EV upstarts popping up every day that want to compete and become the next Tesla. And with a market cap over $700 billion, can you blame them? But with so much competition, how do any of these startups offer something unique that other legacy brands don't or can't? A strategy group analysis can help. Strategy group analysis maps, or SGA maps, plots companies in the same industry into different positions on a map. The dimensions, or what will be represented on the map's X and Y axis, are first determined depending on what are the most important angles to analyze. For instance, dimensions to measure could be brand identity, distribution channels, quality or technology, level of vertical integration, or specific cost position or services offered. In this case, the y-axis represents price and quality, while the x-axis highlights the geographic coverage of competitors, or how many locations they have throughout the world. You then group the players according to where they land and plot them on the map. For example, a brand with high price and quality but low geographic coverage could be a premium retailer like Porsche or Lamborghini. A retailer with lower price but much higher geographic coverage would be Toyota. When all the main players are grouped up, you can use this assessment to evaluate each player's strategy and determine where there is flexibility to enter the market or where the barriers to enter are too high. Once you've analyzed your competitive landscape, it's time to assess yourself. SWOT analysis is a common framework used by execs to determine their company's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths and weaknesses are internal, company-oriented, while opportunities and threats are more external and macro-oriented. One of the more interesting companies to analyze with a SWOT analysis is the new retail investment app Robinhood. Robinhood was founded actually in 2013 and recently reached over 18 million funded accounts with over $100 billion under management. Currently, that makes the company the third biggest brokerage in the world. In 2020 alone, the company grew its revenue from $277 million to $958 million, around 245% annual growth rate. Robinhood's key strength is its commission-free trading that allows anyone to buy fractional shares of stocks, ETFs, options, and even crypto at any price. It also has an easy-to-use mobile UI, and its core service is innovative in that it solves a problem for a majority of millennial audience to help make investing affordable. Now, for some weaknesses. The average Robinhood user has around 5,000 per account versus the average Charles Schwab user, which has around 100,000 per account. The median amount in a Robinhood account is even lower at 240. This limits Robinhood's resources to grow. By contrast, Charles Schwab makes 50% of its revenue purely off interest from its users' accounts, which reached as high as $6.1 billion in 2020. Another way Charles Schwab makes money off of account management fees, while Robinhood makes 80% of revenue from payment for order flow. This payment structure is also an external threat against Robinhood, as the SEC recently fined the company $65 million for misleading users with the process and is still actively investigating. However, Robinhood has opportunities to grow more vertical and offer additional portfolio services. It recently made announcements it would offer crypto wallets and 24/7 customer support, and could even grow with additional advising and consulting services. In addition to SWOT analysis for your own company, you can conduct a SWOT analysis on a competitor to identify any weaknesses that happen to be your strengths. These can be enablers for your growth. Meanwhile, external forces like regulations lobbied against you or your industry could be challenges that you'll need to overcome. Pricing is another huge element of competition. For products with only so many variations, price competition can be the main way to get ahead of your competitors. So how do you decide how to price your products? In order for McDonald's to stay in business in so many countries around the world, it uses a think global, act local approach. The company's global headquarters sets pricing parameters with specific guidelines and tactics for each region. Each region has its own pricing determined by demand, cost, and local competitor offerings in that region. McDonald's will even adopt the products it offers to whatever country it's in. It will serve rice and fried chicken in the Philippines, beetroot burgers in Australia, and poutines in Canada, to name a few. Even still, McDonald's soda and coffee products are some of its most profitable, so its goal is to upsell drinks to customers. This type of price engineering can be done with a competitive price analysis, which is a complete and detailed breakdown of all your competitors' prices. On the left-hand side, you can analyze your product's pricing compared to a main competitor and how it stacks up to the competition with a market landscape bar chart. This chart compares your products to others and tallies those that are cheaper, equal in price, or more expensive. On the right-hand side, you can compare how your pricing stacks up against competitive offerings. In a line graph visualization, you can track sales revenue at different prices to see how you position the price range affects customer behavior over time. Remember, you can download this framework and customize these slides for your need, so make sure to check out the link in the description. While competition around price is common, competing on price is often called a red ocean move, as it can create a bloody price war that creates less and less value for each company involved. Instead, consider blue ocean strategy. Blue ocean strategy focuses on an untapped and uncontested area of the market where there's less or no competition and a whole blue ocean of value to unlock. For example, Apple's blue ocean strategy and its competition with peers like Microsoft is the integration of all of its hardware with each other and through the iCloud and the Apple ecosystem.
So Apple makes a ton of devices. The iPhone, the iPad, the Mac, the Apple Watch, the Apple TV, the HomePod, AirPods, but they also make a lot of software and proprietary technology that ties them all together.
All fully integrated to act as an impenetrable barrier that no one can break. In fact, the affordability of the iCloud service is what adds to this integration, and they're doing the same with additional services through the Apple One subscription. This wide moat, or walled garden, is what makes Apple so impenetrable and so hard to leave. To create your own blue ocean strategy canvas, begin with a list of products or services you want to compare and include as many as you like. List the product's attributes and factors of competition, but only include those factors that create value for the customer. Rate each product or service on a scale of 0 to 5, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst, and 0 being non-existent. This could be based on your own perception and knowledge of your market or through third-party consumer survey data that you collect. After you've scored everything, plot each on this blue ocean strategy graph to assess the gaps in your competition's features. If you find your current product is uncompetitive, you can manipulate your factors of competition to raise, reduce, eliminate, or create new factors and test how it compares. With these changes, you can create a strategy to develop new features that will help you be more competitive in a blue ocean. So, you have a strategy to tackle your competition, but what about how to tackle the outside forces that also constrict your profitability and potential to capture additional market share? In his book, Competitive Strategy, Michael Porter wrote that the competition in an industry and the ultimate profitability of a firm depend on 5 fundamental competitive forces: ease of entry, threat of substitution, bargaining power of buyers, bargaining power of suppliers, and rivalry among competitors.
So the 5 forces is kind of a holistic way of looking at any industry and understanding the structural underlying drivers of profitability and competition.
Competitive strategy aims to create a defensible position for the firm against these 5 competitive forces with offensive or defensive tactics. To conduct your own 5 forces analysis, you should assess your company's tactical strategy against these forces. For instance, think about Netflix. Netflix began its competitive rivalry with traditional TV networks and the movie rental industry like Blockbuster, but now has to face new entrants that have popped up recently like the HBO Max, Disney Plus, and newly formed Discovery Plus platforms. To combat these competitors and create a defensible position against supplier power in the form of third-party licensing rights, Netflix began creating its own original content, which has paid off well in the long run. But now, with an abundance of streaming choices, the bargaining power of buyers has become higher. Viewers can easily substitute Netflix for another form of entertainment or switch to a cheaper service, and the consumer has higher leverage. So now, Netflix has pivoted to spend less on original TV content and more on new growth areas like video games. Netflix CEO Reed Hastings has said multiple times that Netflix sees its biggest competitor as the threat of substitution from sleep. Coming out of the pandemic, streaming companies, including Netflix, have been worried that more consumers will choose to diversify their leisure and entertainment through in-person gatherings or physical activity instead of staying home and binging a streaming show. Video games also represent a way for Netflix to combat this threat of substitution with the offer of additional entertainment options. Different industries will find different forces that are more important for them. For instance, the power of suppliers is especially critical for any company in manufacturing. Just look at the problems the automotive industry has faced most recently with the current chip shortage. And bargaining power of buyers is more important for less sticky products like food and coffee because there's such a large range of choice. So, build your strategy around the forces that are most important for your industry to defend against. For this competitive strategy framework, check out the link in the description. You'll gain more tools like competitor identification, market share comparison, core competency, product assessment comparison, and competitive portfolio analysis that you can customize to your needs. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, you can gain more business frameworks and book summaries from our library. Just check out the link in the description for more.